These are the teams in full then. France, Lloris in goal. The defence is Sagna, Gallas, Spilacci and Clichy. Midfield is Alou Diarra, the new captain, and Abu Diaby in the holding positions. Gignac on the right, Gourcuff in the middle, Ribéry on the left, with Djibril Cissé, the lord of the manor of Frodsham, himself up front for his first appearance at this World Cup. And South Africa, Josephs, the goalkeeper, because Kune is suspended. At the back, Ngonka, Mokoena, the captain, Kumalo and Masilela. In midfield, Pienaar, Sibaya, Kuboni and Chabalala, with Mpela and Parker up front. So France against South Africa here in Bloemfontein on 5 Live, the day that World Cup Group A will be decided. And kicking off in Rustenburg at the same time is Mexico against Uruguay, who are currently the top 2 in this group. If they draw in Rustenburg, they will both go through, and France and South Africa, the hosts, will go out. And the game begins here with France in the blue shirts, with the white numbers, white shorts and red socks, and South Africa, Bafana in their first choice kit of yellow shirts, green shorts and yellow socks. It is a beautiful afternoon, and blue skies above, African skies with the long white clouds, and the sun shining down on about a quarter of the stadium. Most of the playing surface is in shadow. And here come the French down the right with Gignac, but the challenge comes in on him from Masilela to put it out of play for a throw-in 10 yards back from the corner flag on the right. Vuvuzella's being blown, but we were promised, weren't we, by Cedric, our driver, that we'd hear the supporters. Throw in for France. Gignac heads it on. Ribéry is in there, and Gignac in an offside position. So a free kick to the South Africans inside their own penalty area. 0-0.
Yeah, there's not a great deal of surprise in the way that the two teams have decided to line up. South Africa is a straightforward 4-4-2. The French with their 4-2-3-1 formation. It is as we thought it would be.
And the photographers with the long lenses didn't know quite who to take a picture of first on the French bench. There was plenty of choice, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was, most definitely, but I think the coach in the end won hands down.
The ball played forward by Sibaya, and the horns really increase in intensity as South Africa have possession inside the French half. Chabalala with a ball into the penalty area that's taken down by Mpela, and in the end he was crowded out almost by 2 French defenders, Clichy in there, along with Gallas, and the ball bounced off him in the end and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's done ever so well to take the first pass on his chest, but it just wouldn't come down for him. He was waiting, he was trying to get in between 2 defenders, but the ball just kept hanging and it took too long before it eventually dropped and just rolled out.
So 5 Live, France 0, South Africa 0. And just to try and explain to you, were one of these 2 teams, France or South Africa, to qualify for the last 16, well, they would need to win this game and win it well, probably. Here's Gignac now inside the penalty area. Shoots goalwards, but straight at Josephs. And that was a good chance for Gignac, cutting into the box from the left-hand side. Shot was weak, straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, they should have done much better there, the French. Gourcuff was involved. It was his pass inside, and he was one-on-one with the defender, but he was left an awful lot of the goal to hit at. He hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Good opportunity.
So they would need France or South Africa to win well here, and they would need one of Mexico or Uruguay to win well in that game in Rustenburg. So South Africa with Ngonka, the right back, who's come in for Gaka in that position. Pienaar looked as though he was fouled there by Alou Diarra. Referee, who is from Colombia, Oscar Ruiz, waves play on. Chabalala with a good cross in towards the near post, and Bella wasn't far away from it, but it was caught by Lloris.
Yeah, it's an open game already. Opportunities at both ends.
And Lloris's kick away downfield. The goalkeeper comes and Mokoena heads it out of his hands with Gignac behind him and behind for a corner.
Well, you have to think that is the goalkeeper's fault. He's got to let the defender know he's coming. At the last minute he comes, and I think Mokoena does right. He deals with the ball, out for the corner, regroup, defend.
Yeah, Joseph's coming into the team after having arrived as a substitute in South Africa's 3-0 defeat against Uruguay, which in many ways punctured the mood of the host nation in terms of their football team at this World Cup. Corner then to the French. Gourcuff to take it from the left. Right-footed, in-swinger to the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's headed away for South Africa. Ribéry tries to take it up, and it rebounds, ricochets away off South African shins, and out for a throw-in off Parker to France on the halfway line. Raymond Domenech. Well, there is an instruction from him to Clichy, who is taking this throw 7 or 8 yards away from the French coach, and further instructions as well. Whether they're taking any notice of it.
What do you think, John?
Is a different matter.
Where would your money be going?
I think negative. No, monsieur.
I think you're right.
Here's Clichy over the halfway line to Gourcuff, who turns and plays it low out to the right-hand side. Sagna is there. And Gourcuff again. I just think in terms of the players, Jan, I mean, you've played at the World Cup. You don't get many opportunities to do this in a footballer's career, no matter what level of player you are, and to have effectively wasted it.
They give away a World Cup. When do you go next? In 4 years, if you qualify. If not, it's 8. You know, and that's why I lay the blame at the players' feet. They knew what they were going into. They know what the coach is all about. They know what he's capable of, and maybe in some situations not so capable of. And I think Evra, as a captain, should have got the squad together and gone, listen, never mind the coach, we're going to do this because we're good enough to go a long, long way. In the end, they got it completely wrong.
I cannot believe that the agitators in the French team, down the line, will not regret what has happened here in South Africa to them.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a comment, wasn't it, from I don't know, it was the sports minister.
Yes, who was here last night.
Where they said, you know, the unrest in the camp has been caused by some senior players who are over the hill. They'll never play in another World Cup. And it's unfortunate that everybody else has decided to go with them.
France 0, South Africa 0. It's still Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. So that means Uruguay and Mexico, as the results stand at the moment, would be the two teams that would go through from this group. And the two that go through from this group will meet whoever takes their place in the last 16 from Group B tonight. You'll hear those commentaries this evening on 5 Live as the ball is played forward for South Africa, but through to Lloris, the sprightly French goalkeeper, all in grey, in the goal to our right. This stadium here, the Free State Stadium, has one stand that horseshoes away around the 3 sides of the pitch, and we're in the big stand on one side of the ground in the top tier. Ball in from the right for France. This has to be cleared by South Africa, but it is, and Gonka did well actually in the end, allowed it to come to him very coolly and played a 1-2 in his own penalty area with Sabaya, Macbeth Sabaya, who has been brought in, the experienced South African midfielder who plays in Russia for Ruben Kassan. Macbeth Sabaya, his first appearance of the tournament. So France 0, South Africa 0. There's been a wicket at the Rose Bowl. Pat Murphy.
Shane Watson's out for 32. An athletic catch by Stuart Broad off his own bowling. Watson hit 2 fours in Broad's first over. The beans were jumping, I reckon. He went to the well again. Short ball, mistimed the pull shot. Out for 32. 53 for 1 Australia, John, in the 9th over.
Thank you, Pat. Just to explain to you as well, in case you weren't listening earlier, the commentary on the one day is on 5 Live Sports Extra. At Wimbledon, our coverage is on DAB radio this afternoon via the 5 Live website. And if you want the details on how to listen to that, you can find them on the 5 Live website. So Andy Murray's first round match will be there on DAB radio via the 5 Live website. Mexico-Uruguay, incidentally, is also there, the commentary on the 5 Live website. It's very complicated, Jan. You've got to be across your technology these days, you know.
We wouldn't want it any other way, would we, John? Plenty of action.
Ribéry plays it forward for France, but couldn't find Cissé, who's not got into the game at all yet. Djibril Cissé. France 0, South Africa 0. Let's see how things have started in Rustenburg. Alistair Bruce Ball.
8.5 minutes played, Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. I'm not suggesting any conspiracy theories just yet, but Luis Suarez, Uruguay striker who's scored a hatful of goals for Ajax this season, has missed a very good early chance, one-on-one with the keeper, dragging his shot wide. Actually, to be fair, there is effort, tackles are flying in, it does look committed, which is good news for France and South Africa. And I think the World Cup in general, Uruguay 0, Mexico 0, as it stands, that takes these two teams through in those positions.
What do you think, Jan? How strongly will those two sides, Uruguay and Mexico, want to win that group and almost certainly avoid Argentina?
Well, I think first and foremost what they want to do, they want to make sure they qualify for the next round of games, and in an ideal world, yes, you don't want to be playing Argentina. The interesting bit in that game is obviously if one of the teams score, what happens then? But like most people, and including the people who always seem to know the bookmakers,
the bookies,
yeah, I tend to go with the most likely outcome is probably a draw.
And that would put France and South Africa out of the competition here today. France 0, South Africa 0. BBC 5 Live at World Cup 2010. Clichy does well to put in a challenge on Ngonka, but then Mokoena, South Africa's most capped player in their history, his 104th cap today, comes across and puts it out of play for a throw. Blue shirts have got it back. Le Bleu played into the area. Djibril Cissé with a header, glanced it goalwards but straight at Joseph, who was able to take it just with a little movement to his right.
Yeah, well, the idea was right, wasn't it? But he was just too far out to be able just to glance that into the bottom corner.
France 0, South Africa 0. And Cissé, who I would imagine will have been bursting to get a chance to show what he can do at this World Cup. 29 goals for Panathinaikos this season in Greece, the former Liverpool player who, as people may know, is very famously married to a hairdresser from Anglesey. Here is South Africa in possession in centre field with Kuboni. To the left-hand side it goes, and Maselela plays it back into his own half. And South Africa's just enjoying a little spell of possession here. It's 0-0. Likewise in Rustenburg. Now, Ngonka on the right, making ground up the right flank. Ngonka again. Pina had to stretch for it. Challenge came in from Alou Diarra, and the new French captain has possession back, and Gourcuff drops very deep. And now Gallas at the back. You and I, when we were speculating on which French players would be left out today, Gallas was near the top of the list.
No, he was top of the list, John. Let's
he
make
was
no
top
bones
of the
about it. When we sort of started to realise that some of the players, senior players, have been causing the unrest, were going to be left out, we both went Gallas, surely.
Yeah. As France take the ball on. Diaby to the edge of the penalty area, but got his feet tangled up underneath them, as he's prone to do from time to time. Pina does really well, and then under pressure gives it away to Diarra, but was fouled, says the referee. Free kick Pina and South Africa.
No, it's a French free kick.
Or for Pina's challenge on Gourcuff. So a free kick just forward and left of the centre circle. This referee, Oscar Ruiz, is the same referee who was in charge of the Nigeria-Greece game. And South Africa have to organise themselves here. Remember, there was a red card in that game. The Nigerian mildly controversially sent off in that match. Gourcuff to take the free kick as a wave sweeps around the stadium here. Gourcuff waits, just moving from foot to foot. The referee then gives the signal. Lots of blue French shirts on the edge of the box. An early goal would be what France would want in this game, and South Africa for that matter. Gourcuff plays it in, and it's almost flicked on by the head of, I think, Diarra, but it was headed away for South Africa and then walloped clear right into the French half, where Clichy will prevent it from going out of play and returning it all the way to the goalkeeper Lloris. So 0-0 between France and the host South Africa. No World Cup host has ever failed to make it past the first stage of the competition, and this here in South Africa is the 19th World Cup Finals tournament. So ignominy awaits the South African team, and you would have to think, on the basis of what we've seen from them so far in this World Cup, that getting through would be beyond them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, can you see South Africa beating France even in the turmoil they're in 3-0? No. I could possibly see the French getting 3 goals. What's the interesting bit is that once there's a goal, and it's most likely to come from France, what effect will it have on South Africa? Will they then go gung-ho and open themselves up, leaving themselves like they did against Uruguay?
Long ball forward for France, comes off the head of Mokoena, and behind for another French corner. So Gourcuff to take this. Almost quarter of an hour played. It's 0-0 in Bloemfontein. Gourcuff with the run up now to take it in towards the penalty spot. It was a low one, but they didn't find a Frenchman in red. It was Diarra he was aiming at, and it was cleared away by South Africa. To Clichy now, who goes for the long, high, diagonal ball out towards this side of the field. Pienaar of Heverton heads it down. Oh, and then Pienaar is in there. He took the ball, but goodness me, that was a rumbustious challenge on Diarra. The referee said it was a good challenge too. Diarra eventually climbs to his feet, and then South Africa give it away in centre field.
Yeah, they just lack a little bit. I mean, the French And the South Africans know that they need to get Pienaar on the ball. So the French are not allowing Pienaar any space, and the South Africans just can't get the ball to him quick enough. That is their hope. He's the one who might be able to create a little bit, but they can't get him on the ball.
In the 15th minute, it's 0-0. They cut quite a contrast, didn't they, Jan, the two sides when they got off the bus outside the ground. We saw pictures in here, and the French side all very, very serious, came off the coach. And the South African team, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. The South African players were singing as they came off the bus together, and then danced into the stadium, into the dressing room, and then a little later, when they were ready to come out for their warm-up, they sang and danced all the way from the dressing room, down the long corridor, and out to the end of the tunnel and onto the pitch.
Yeah, I think we've heard of the unrest in the French camp, but by all accounts there's also been some unrest in the South African camp, and I think they just wanted to show their togetherness, because I think as a whole, certainly the countries are regrouped, haven't they? They're behind the team again. What happened against Uruguay? Well, that's the level that South Africa are at. You can't expect any more than what they've shown so far. And in terms of what the players did, I thought it was nice. It took an awful long time, didn't it?
It did take a long time.
Forever.
Yeah. Pienaar plays it forward. Now Bernard Parker, who played for Steve McLaren this season at FC20 in the Dutch League Championship winning team. But Pienaar then is dispossessed by Ribéry, and France forward again. Ball played beautifully by Ribéry down the left, but Cissé heads straight into an offside position, and it's a free kick to the South Africans. Goalless here, and also goalless between Mexico and Uruguay.
Yeah, that's what you need to do when Cissé's in the team. You need to play balls early in behind the defenders for him to use his pace. That time he got it wrong. His timing wasn't quite there.
Slightly disappointing, Jan, that the stadium is not quite full.
Yeah, there isn't many empty seats, but there is some, isn't there?
I thought it would be packed for this.
I thought it would have been packed an hour before the game.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been.
No. 0-0. And goalkeeper Josephs for South Africa takes the free kick for the offside against Cissé. It's rattling around inside the French half. And then Diaby takes it up and plays a ball through the inside right position. Cissé's after it, but goalkeeper Josephs, it seemed to race away from Cissé, almost like a boundary struck over a fast outfield. And Josephs came out and picked it up very nimbly. Pienaar now twists in the centre circle, gives it to this right-hand side. There's space here for the right-back, Ngonka. He's up against Clichy. Clichy backpedalling. Ngonka was in two minds, possibly three. Still in possession, though. Begins to weave in field, the right-back. Then it's back to the dreadlocked Sabaya, who shoots from 30 yards, slices it 15 yards wide.
Yeah, I think he possibly felt that the crowd just needed lifting a little bit. Let's try and have a shot from distance. Absolutely nowhere near it.
Macbeth Sabaya mentioned the fact that he plays his football in Russia, in Ruben Kazan, which is somewhere east. It's about 300 miles east of Moscow. It's quite a career, isn't it, for someone like him to come from South Africa and then find himself playing club football in the wilds of Russia, if you want to phrase it like that, and then come back to his home country here and play in the World Cup. France with the ball forward into the area for Gignac, who jumped for it but was beaten in the air by Kumalo, and then strong challenge from Diaby, who got a touch on the ball first, so it wasn't a free kick, but it was behind for a goal kick anyway. 0-0.
He's been involved though, hasn't he, Diaby? You know, he's using his power and especially his running power. I mean, he covers the ground so easy, and he's been involved in a couple of good things already. He
has been a contender for France's best player at this World Cup.
Yeah, I think so. And what they've done, France, is instead of playing with two holding midfield players, they're just using the one, and then Diaby and Goalkeeper is pushed on, so they're really attack-minded.
Pienaar does well, actually. Plays it to the right-hand side. Mpella, his ball hits Gallas, bounces out of play for a throw-in to the South Africans, 10 yards back from the corner flag. 18 minutes played, still France 0, South Africa 0, and it is still Mexico 0, group leaders Uruguay 0. So Mexico and Uruguay, if it stays like that, will go through. Throw in for the hosts, and Ngonka into the area. It's cleared away. Comes down for Pienaar. Pienaar lifts a very high ball out to Chabalala, who goes for an acrobatic volley and slices it straight up in the air, and it's caught by Lloris.
I think that was the intention from Pienaar. He'd spotted that he was clear at the far post. And Chabalala, I mean, I know he scored that wonder goal in the first game, and I don't know whether he thinks he can do that every 20 minutes. Well, that was just a ridiculous effort, wasn't it?
We saw evidence, didn't we, of that in the Uruguay game. And there's further evidence today.
Yeah.
There may be I might be being unkind to him, but there may be an element of believing his own publicity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right, John. You know, and the game is about making decisions, making the right decisions.
Here he is, Chabalala, with his hair tied back with that distinctive South African badge. Now forward for Pina on the right, and Diarra gets back. He's able to get in there, and Topo get behind for South Africa's first corner of the game. It's goalless.
Yeah, he did well, Diarra. Tracked the run off Pina. It's one of the few times it looked like they were going to get Pina in. Good defending by the French.
And you can hear the crescendo of noise from the vuvuzelas for the host nation here in Bloemfontein. A corner, therefore, a chance to take the lead. Chabalala to take it. Here it is. Lloris has missed it. It's headed into the back post. South Africa have taken the lead through Khumalo. And joy for the host nation. It's not over yet. It's France 0, South Africa 1.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, they haven't looked like scoring at any stage during this game. They get himself a corner. The ball comes in, and I have to say, as soon as he left his line, Lloris, I thought, you ain't going to get there. And he didn't. And at the far post, the big fella from the back, Khumalo, just rises above everybody else, heads it into an empty net. 1-0. Incredible.
Well, it's woe upon woe for the hapless French. They're 1-0 down to the team that most of us consider to be the worst in the tournament.
Yeah, but it's football, isn't it? You know, and the 12th man and the fans are up for this. This is incredible, but this will be great for the game, I tell you. This will be great.
Doesn't change anything in terms of the position at the top of the group as to who's going through at the moment, because it is still Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. Ribery down the left, into the middle. Lovely turn by Gignac, but he's shot over the top from a tight angle. So goal kick to the South Africans. France 0, South Africa 1, and Bongani Khumalo scoring the goal. Did well to get up high above Diaby at the back post, but the goalkeeper, the French goalkeeper, as Jan said, as I said, very much at fault. But great moment for South Africa to score against the team that won the World Cup in 1998, to score against the team that were in the final last time round. Great moment for South Africa at this World Cup, Jan.
Yeah, it is, and they're going bananas. I mean, we've just seen pictures of the goalkeeper, you know, running around celebrating. The fans are up for this. We were told this is where the soccer fans are in South Africa.
Yes, that's what they said.
They're certainly enjoying this one, that's for sure.
That's what Cedric said, wasn't it?
He did indeed, and Cedric hasn't been wrong so far.
He's not, he's been very good, actually.
He also said they'd win.
He did, actually, didn't he, by a couple of goals?
Yeah.
So we'll see if Cedric is going to be right during the course of the afternoon here in Bloemfontein. France 0, South Africa 1. We'll get an update very shortly from Rustenburg, but the South Africans looking for that second goal, and the cross from Ngonka is deflected behind for a South African corner from the same side that they scored the opening goal.
Well, this is just a little test for the French.
A little test for the goalkeeper as well, Lloris, after he was exposed by the last one. Chabalala places the ball carefully. The rainbow flags wave. Chabalala's corner. Oh, Lloris comes and doesn't get it. And this time, Mpella was very nearly in there. Indecision from the French goalkeeper. And South Africa were very nearly in for a second goal. Here now they come again with Sabaya on the left. Challenge comes in and it's out of play for a throw next to the corner flag.
It is almost identical. The goalkeeper decides as the cross comes across to leave his line, and again you think you're not going to get there. And this time he realised, but he could have almost been a second.
Chabalala on the left after the throw was taken, but his cross is blocked down. And suddenly France are away through Cisse. Cisse's over the halfway line, using his pace, into the penalty area, shoots greedily from an angle with two French players in the middle, and it was wider than near post and behind. So, France 0, South Africa 1. Khumalo's goal in the 21st minute of this game. And here is Alistair Bruce Ball, who's over in Rustenburg watching Mexico and Uruguay.
Uruguay 0, Mexico 0. Remember, if this game does finish as a draw, then no matter what happens with you, Uruguay and Mexico will go through. South Africa, one up, excitement with you. Need a positive result here. What I will tell them, I will reiterate, is that both teams seem to be trying desperately hard to win this game. Mexico have just come extremely close to scoring. Andres Guardado rattling one against the crossbar from 25 yards out. But still, Uruguay 0, Mexico 0, which would take these two through.
Yeah, and the two teams that go through from this group will play the two teams that go through tonight from Group B. 7:30 UK time. We'll have commentary on 5 Live on Greece against the likely group winners Argentina, who are very nearly there, and Nigeria, South Korea will be on the 5 Live website. South Africa coming forward, chance here with a shot from Pella on the edge of the area, and he dragged it wide. What a run from him, diagonally from near the halfway line, and he shrugged off the challenges, beat Gallas, but in the end just couldn't get the shot right. Pella,
he was unlucky though, wasn't he? It was a good run, as you rightly said, from the halfway line past Gallas, and there's only Cleese between him and the goal. He just moves to the right and tries to go back across the goalkeeper. He misses the post by maybe a foot. Another great chance for South Africa.
Well, he's had a few near things, Jan, hasn't he, Pella, at this World Cup?
Well, I think it's the one in the first game, isn't it? With 2 minutes to go, clean through on his left foot against the Mexicans, hits the bottom of the post.
Strictly speaking, he probably should have done better there.
He should have done, absolutely, and I think he knows that.
Ball in the South African penalty area. It's headed on by Gourcuff, but a foul by Cisse, and it's a free kick to the South Africans inside their own box. Is that going to be a yellow?
No, it's a red.
Goodness gracious me!
It's a red.
It's a red card for Gourcuff.
No. We spoke about this referee. We said this referee is card happy.
Or is it Cisse?
No. It's Gourcuff.
It's Gourcuff, who the referee has seemingly seen lead with an arm.
No, he didn't. He leant with his shoulder. He just went and headed the ball, and he sort of followed through with his shoulder. Incredible scenes. But it's definitely Gourcuff who's been sent off.
Well, it's Gourcuff who's inquiring after the well-being of Macbeth Sabaya, who was the South African player that Gourcuff collided with. But the referee was in no doubt, and he has produced the red card.
Absolutely unbelievable.
And that is extremely debatable. It looks like a very bad decision. Gourcuff went up with his arms, and his elbow has caught Sabaya on the side of the jaw, but
it's no worse than
intent.
No, absolutely not. The two players going for the ball. It's no worse than South African's arms is in the face of Gourcuff. Absolutely identical. And there's no reaction from anyone. I know the players on the ground, maybe slightly hurt, but I find that an incredible decision.
Well, Gourcuff is really concerned here. He hasn't left the field yet because he wants to make sure that Sabaya is okay, and Sabaya has actually been tended to on the pitch. He's not yet been lifted onto the stretcher.
There he goes now.
So it does look as though Sabaya is quite badly hurt, so we'll keep a close eye on that. But Gourcuff now is satisfied himself that he's made sure that Sabaya is okay, and I presume perhaps said something to him as well. And Gourcuff now leaves the field. So France, after the week that they've had, after the tumultuous few days that they've had, are 1-0 down to South Africa, and now Gourcuff has been sent off, and they're down to 10 men.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've already said it, haven't we, John? We find the decision absolutely incredible. Where Gourcuff's left arm is sort of towards the South African player, but it has to be somewhere as he goes to challenge the ball. The South African defender's arm is exactly in the same place towards Gourcuff's face.
Well, I told you it would be unpredictable this afternoon.
It has very much been.
Sabaya still receiving treatment, and while that is sorted out, and he is now being lifted off the pitch on the stretcher, we'll get another update from the Rose Bowl and the One Day International from Pat Murphy.
England have taken another wicket. Tim Payne, the opener, bowled by Luke Wright for 26. He played on, really, trying to crash him through the offside. Ricky Ponting's there on 6, joined by Michael Clarke. England have had the advantage here in this first 3/4 of an hour, John. In the 14th over, Australia 66 for 2.
So it was the 25th minute of the match that Gourcuff was shown the red card. So France 1-0 down, have now got to play, well, certainly over an hour of the game with 10 men.
Yeah, which probably rules their prospects of going through out. But there's an opportunity for South Africa. It's just whether, do they have enough quality to take advantage of this extra man?
It's been quite an extraordinary afternoon already, as we knew it would be because of the circumstances leading up to this game. But if you haven't heard, Raymond Domenech, the French coach, left his captain, Patrice Evra, out of the team, dropped him. And Malouda was also left out, as was Abidal and Govou. And Anelka, of course, is no longer in South Africa with us here. Sabaya, I'm pleased to say, is back on the field. And he's received whatever treatment they gave him. And he's receiving the ball now at his feet. Sabaya. Back to Mokwena. Aaron Mokwena now, a right-footed ball, arrowed out towards the left-hand side, kept in by Masalela, but in doing so he's given possession to Sagna, and the French come forward, the 10 men of France now. Gignac, his pass aiming for Cissé was straight at the goal scorer, Kumalo, and South Africa back in possession. Ball over the top from Pella, but he was in an offside position, and it's a free kick to the French.
Well, we spoke about potentially red cards in this game, but we thought they might have come from frustrations, you know. These are two frustrated teams, but I just never thought it was going to come from something like we just seen. Very, very soft red card.
Yeah, Goku, very unfortunate to be shown the red card. Jumped, led with his arm, caught Sabaya with his elbow, but you know, it seemed that there was little or no intent.
But you've seen players who really go and lead with their arm, don't they? He wasn't doing that.
He was levering himself up with his arms, with a jump. France 0, South Africa 1, and still Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. Just looking to our right, Jan, just along beyond the media benches where the other commentators are, to the side of the stand where all of the South African supporters are, or many of them, in that area, and they're waving their vuvuzelas in the air.
I'd rather they waved them
in the air than blew them. Cissé loses possession, and it's played away by Chabalala. Bounces out of play on the right-hand side for a throw-in to the French. France 0, South Africa 1. If you've just switched onto us on 5 Live for the Wimbledon coverage, well, Andy Murray's first round match will be over on the 5 Live website, on DAB radio via the 5 Live website. Our Wimbledon coverage is there now, and if you're not sure about how to receive that, if you can log on to the 5 Live website, all the details are there. Parker tries to bring the ball forward, but the free kick has gone against him, and it's a free kick to the French in the central third of the field. Clichy, just in front of where Raymond Damonek stands in his French blazer, perhaps for the final time as the French national team coach. And in fact, as the minutes go by, it looks increasingly likely that that will be the case. His last game before Laurent Blanc gets the chance to take over, the former Manchester United player and great French central defender. Here's Diarra to the left-hand side, to Clichy. You see Carlos Alberto Pereira there, just coming out of his coaching area. He's never won a match as a coach at a World Cup other than with his home nation, Brazil. And this is his 6th different World Cup as a coach, Pereira, believe it or not. South Africa with Chabalala, who turns now, plays it forward towards Mpela. Parker waiting, but good challenge comes in from Diarra. And now it's Clichy with it in the left-back area. Gaël Clichy of Arsenal, his first appearance at the tournament. France's number 22, his first senior tournament. So a big day for him in amidst all the chaos. Ribéry's ball forward, but again it skids away off the surface, away from Gignac and through for a goal kick.
Yeah, it just takes off, doesn't it? It's those long straight passes. As soon as they hit the ground, away they go. But you have to say, since the sending off, the French have probably been slightly the better team. They've settled, they're keeping the ball well, and I think the South Africans are having a real issue at the moment. What should we do? Should we go and really gamble, pressurise them high up and see if we can get a second goal, or sit back? And at the moment they've chosen to sit back.
Yeah, I would say, Jan, that I don't think the scoreline reflects the game at the moment.
No, it's probably a slightly harsh scoreline on the French.
Chabalala with the ball, the 10 men of France. Pienaar now challenged by Abu Diaby as he tried to take it on, and it's a free kick to the South Africans, and Diaby looks rather scornfully at the referee, who's already sent off one of his teammates. And a free kick to South Africa. It's right of centre, an angle probably 30 yards away from goal.
Set off for the left footer, isn't it? Is that angle?
Chabalala.
Yeah, more headlines.
Do you think he might fancy a go at goal?
I would be surprised if not, although, you know, Pienaar's there.
And Pienaar's speaking to him, actually.
Yeah.
Might be just talking sense to him. Chabalala looks very much as though he's going to take it. Maybe they're trying to fool the French. There is a 5-man wall. Pienaar runs over the ball. Chabalala goes for goal, and it dips over the bar in behind and is caught by, well, it's not a ball boy behind the goal. And he collects it, the chap, and throws it back to Lloris. So here we are in Bloemfontein on this lovely afternoon. The sun's shining, not very far away from, slap bang in the middle of Bloemfontein, the stadium. This is where the local rugby union teams play, and the Bloemfontein Celtics is the football team around here, and it's right next to the waterfront, which is a very pleasant area, and also the safari park as well. Here is South Africa. Cisse is down, injured. Here's Pienaar now to the edge of the area. Plays it to the left-hand side, but the burst into the box from Parker just runs away from him, couldn't control it at pace, and it's behind for a goal kick. And it was actually Sanya who was down near the centre circle, but I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he looks that way, doesn't he? But one of the few times they got the ball into Pienaar early, he had a little bit of time and space, and he picked out the right pass, you have to say, but Parker's first touch, unfortunate for South Africa, not good enough.
10 minutes to go to half-time. France 0, South Africa 1 is the surprise scoreline here. Bongani Khumalo with a header in the 20th minute of the match from a Chabalala corner that Lloris came for, didn't get, and Khumalo was able to jump high and head it down and into the net at the back post. And the other incident of note, the sending off of Yohan Gourcuff, which means that France are down to 10 men in this game. France 0, South Africa 1. Still Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. And South Africa with a throw on the left-hand side. Carlos Alberto Pereira waves his arms around, and the ball finds its way out towards his side of the field, this right-hand side. And Ngonka now to Macbeth Sabaya in the centre circle. Now the goal scorer, Khumalo. Out to the left again, Masalela. And South Africa enjoying possession against the 10 men, trying to tease the French from one side to the other. Back to the right it goes. Ngonka, his deep cross towards the back post. Chabalala with a header, but didn't convince. I think is the phrase that we might use. He jumped up in the air.
Chabalala's never scored
with a header. No,
in his career.
In his life.
That is for sure.
How do we describe that? As the ball was coming over, it was actually an excellent cross from Ngonka, perfect for him, and he sort of jumped up, completely misjudged it, let it hit his head, and it ballooned over the top of the bar.
It's best described, John, isn't it, when you throw a ball at somebody who's never played football before and you ask them to head the ball, you know, and they head it on top of their head and it goes straight up in the air. It was one of those. Well, having said that, they worked it well.
They did.
South Africa worked it well to get the crossing opportunity.
It's what you might have called a curate's egg of a move for South Africa. Here's Chabalala on the left-hand side again. Another chance, only half cleared by Diaby. Across it goes. It's in! It's in! It's been turned in by Umpela. And now South Africa have a 2-0 lead against the former world champions France. What a World Cup they have had to forget the French. After chaos, mutiny and disarray, they're now 2-0 down to 10 men and heading home.
Well, we thought in 2002 when they went home, the French, that they were bad, but this, they've slumped to new lows, that's for sure. I mean, it was a low ball into the penalty box. Only Gaël Clichy of the French defenders reacted. He couldn't quite clear it. And there at the far post is Mempela just to knock it into an empty net. 2-0. I mean, it's all possible now.
France 0, South Africa 2. I said it was going to be very difficult to predict what happened here this afternoon, and so it's proving. And South Africa are now looking for a third goal. Parker, 25 yards, out to Pienaar. Now to Umpela on the edge of the box. Back to Pienaar. Tips it into the edge of the area, and Parker puts it in the net, but the offside flag is up and the goal will not stand.
Well, I'll tell you what you can declare right now. The French have thrown in the towel. The counter-attack for South Africa, there was 4 French players. You know you're a man light, jogging back, no intention of getting back to try and help. I'll tell you, if they can play this cute and clever, the South Africans, they're going to get plenty of opportunities here, that's for sure.
This could be an extraordinary afternoon, couldn't it, Jan?
It is already. You know, they started with the team news. Incredible.
In terms of where it might end up. Diaby, who lost possession for that second French goal, for that second South African goal. It's unmissable, that one from Pella.
Yeah, it was, once it got to him.
Inside the 6-yard box, just had to really bundle it into the back of the net from close range. So 2-0 to South Africa. And now home hopes, you know, will be rising of a very improbable qualification for the last 16 for the host nation. They have to win this well, South Africa, and hope that, well, probably hope that Uruguay win well against Mexico. Let's get another update from Rustenburg on that match from Alistair Bruce Ball.
South Africa desperately need a goal in this game. 6 minutes to half-time still. Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. Both teams still trying. Mexico have rattled the bar. Uruguay have driven a couple of shots wide when one-on-one with the keeper. My maths tells me, John, I think if Mexico win 1-0 here, South Africa need to win 5-0. If Uruguay win 1-0, South Africa need to win 4-0. It's something along those lines, isn't it?
That's right. Ribéry with a free kick for the French. Into the air. And oh, what a save! What a save from Josephs! Cisse made a run into the 6-yard box. Whether he got a touch or not, it was Gallas. It was Gallas inside the 6-yard box. It bounced up, and Josephs took off and pushed it over the bar.
Well, it's a tricky situation for the goalkeeper, isn't it? Because if Gallas gets a touch, then it comes to the goalkeeper's right. If he doesn't, it's to his left. So he couldn't go too early, the goalkeeper. And once he realised Gallas is not going to get to this, he dived to his left, over the bar, corner France.
Corner in. Gignac tries to header at the near post. Doesn't make it. Sabaya plays it away. And it's taken down, and well, I'm not sure he meant to do that, Masalela, but he blasted it into Ribéry and won himself a goal kick. It's entertaining, Jan.
It is very much entertaining, I have to say. I'm just looking at the French players. Running forward is one thing. Trying to run back, chasing things is an entirely different thing. And they don't look like they've got the appetite.
Do you think we might be witnessing le surrender?
Oh, it could be, couldn't it?
So from revolution to surrender in the space of 48 hours. I wonder what Nicholas Anelka is doing this afternoon. Here's a ball played forward for Chabalala inside the penalty area, but Sanya allows it to run, and it's through for... Well, Chabalala thinks that should be a corner,
but the ref doesn't.
But the referee says goal kick.
As we just see again, the second goal.
So the way it stands, South Africa winning 2-0 here. Kumalo with a header and Mpela with that close range finish. France down to 10 men. Still Mexico 0, Uruguay 0. Now the first criteria that is used to separate the teams at this World Cup is goal difference in the group. And South Africa's goal difference is now currently -1. Mexico's goal difference is +2. Uruguay's is +3. Ball out to the left-hand side for South Africa. So that is what South Africa need to better. That the goal difference of either Uruguay or Mexico, depending on which of those sides loses in Rustenburg. It's complicated-ish.
It is complicated, and at the moment we're still a way off anything happening, aren't we? But I just keep looking at the French, John. They're playing 4-2-3. So they're really leaving themselves open, aren't they?
They are. And
for a heavy defeat now.
Kuboni plays it through. And then Pienaar loses possession, and the French can move forward. But Ribéry loses it, and now Pienaar is back in there. Goodness me, he's worked ever so hard. Stephen Pienaar of Everton, having been substituted in South Africa's 2 matches so far. Suspect that won't be the case today, the way things are going. Chabalala now takes it up again.
He's still, though, isn't he? He's still to have his World Cup moment, isn't he, Pienaar?
Let's see if he can get it here. Pienaar now forward to Mpela. Mpela shoots from distance. Lloris had to go down to his right and get a touch on it to push it behind.
Yeah, good save by the goalkeeper. Had to be. He sees it late. It's one of those where you just hit across the ball with your right foot. It bends towards the bottom corner. Well done, goalkeeper. That was going in.
It's been a tremendously enjoyable first half to watch.
Well, there's space now, isn't it?
Unless you're French. Corner from the left. Chabalala to take it. A huge South African flag is waved. And a long one as well, which reads Bafana Bafana in green on yellow. Chabalala to take the corner from the left-hand side. 5 live at the World Cup. On a really atmospheric and thrilling day for the home nation here. Chabalala waits. Inside the box. Takes it short to Pienaar. Then gives it back out to the left-hand side. Here's the cross, but it's straight into the first defender, who is Clichy on this occasion out there, and out for a throw-in. And the big men disappear back to the halfway line. Mokoena and Kumalo together. And Chabalala is going to leave the throw for Masalela to take.
I'll tell you what's happened as well, John, since the South Africans have gone 2-0 up. There's no more empty seats.
That is remarkable, isn't it? South Africa with it. And the curling shot from Kuboni from 25 yards is high over the top. Now then, there's been a goal in Rustenburg. Alistair Bruce Ball.
Exactly what South Africa want. Uruguay have scored just before half-time. Luis Suarez with a header at the far post from Cavani's cross. Uruguay lead by 1-0. As it stands, if South Africa could get 2 more goals and win 4-0, my maths tells me that they would then go through, I think, on goals scored, John. But here, importantly, Uruguay lead Mexico by 1-0. Suarez with that goal.
Yeah, that is how it is. I'm in agreement with Alistair there. Of course, the other thing would be, were Uruguay to score more goals against Mexico, then that would reduce the feat or the task or the challenge that faces South Africa. But the way this game's going, you would not bet against more goals.
No, you wouldn't. It's just as open as you want any game to be.
And South Africa look as though they've got real belief. Gignac is down injured, deep inside the South African half, and the referee eventually stops play so that Gignac can receive some treatment. Yeah. Boos from the home supporters, because that was a South African move.
Well, it was
interrupted.
It was, but if he's hurt, and he looks like he's hurt, he's certainly holding his face.
Well, before the World Cup, Jan, I was looking forward to this game for probably all of the right reasons. You know, I thought host nation playing against
you thought
France.
This would be a real decider, didn't you?
And
it is in a way, isn't it? But not the way we thought it was going to be.
It hasn't turned out to be anything like what we thought it would be in terms of the stories and the build-up to the match. But it is extremely, extremely dramatic. 3 minutes of added time.
3 minutes.
Gignac did not need treatment from the medical people. He's okay, he's back on his feet. And approaching half-time here in Bloemfontein, Mangaung, as they call it, the locals, the land of the leopard, is the translation of that. The Bafana team lead by 2-0 against 10-man France. It's been quite a first half for them. And how they would celebrate across this country, A, just if they were able to win this game, but B, were they to win it and take a place in the last 16, I think we'd see some celebrations tonight, Jan, across the Rainbow Nation.
I think regardless, John, if they can win here against France, it would probably be the result in the country's footballing history.
Yep. Jan Molby with us here in the commentary position inside the stadium in Bloemfontein, watching South Africa coming forward, and Mpela, one of the goal scorers, gives it away to Ribéry, who played in the middle, if you remember, against Mexico, to little effect. He's back on the left here today, but he's been fouled now, so a free kick to the French, 5 or 6 yards inside the South African half. There is always a threat from France coming forward. It almost goes without saying, and you've got Cissé playing in this game, Gignac, their opportunity to play in the World Cup. But a very important save from Josephs, as we described a few minutes ago. The free kick is completely wasted by the French and effectively given back to South Africa and their goalkeeper, Monive Josephs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do at half-time, the French coach. He might decide to make 1 or 2 changes, I'm not too sure. But the biggest question is, of course, if whatever he says or whatever he wants to do, does anyone really listen?
Yeah, half-time in the French dressing room. There's always...
You'd like to be in there, wouldn't you, John?
Yeah, it's always likely to be interesting. Here's Cissé, deep, near the halfway line.
Who will take the team talk? Henry?
Well, for those who weren't listening, Thierry Henry seemed to be running the show before the game. He is on the bench here today. So even though he wasn't involved, Thierry Henry leading the team, it seems. Here's Ribéry now to Gignac inside the box. Oh, lovely little ball. Just didn't reach Diaby inside the penalty area and was intercepted, and South Africa clear. They really want to hang on to this 2-0 lead until half-time to the hosts. Clichy. Gallas is well up the field in the South African defensive third. Oh, a little careless there by Diaby. And the ball is flayed forward to Parker, and Parker angles it to Mpela, and then across comes Squillaci to side-foot it out of play for a throw into the South Africans halfway inside the French half. I make it 10 seconds to go until the added time is over, and they're blowing their vuvuzelas in anticipation of a commanding lead at half-time for Bafana Bafana. Sibaya, Macbeth Sibaya. And there is the half-time whistle here. Extraordinary first half, really has been. And the score is 10-man France 0, South Africa 2. Khumalo with a header, Mpela with a close-range finish, and Gourcuff very unfortunate to be sent off but it's been an awful first half for the French, Jan Molby.
Yeah, you couldn't have scripted it. It's been incredible, but they've got their lead. South Africa, the controversial sending off, that opened up the floodgates. Have they got enough quality to go and get themselves more goals in the second half? I think there will be more chances. It's just a question of whether they'll be good enough to take them.
And I'm just looking to see if Raymond Domenech, he's in no hurry to get into the dressing room at half-time, I can tell you that much. He's waited for most of the French players to leave the field before finally now, hands in pockets, the French coach saunters down towards the dressing room, I suspect, to say his final few words as coach of the national team, if indeed he does speak to them during the half-time break. Amazing here. France 0, South Africa 2 at half-time.
If Uruguay score 2 more in the second half and win 3-0 against Mexico, and it stays 2-0 where you are in Bloemfontein, Mexico and South Africa will draw lots, I think, to get into the last 16.
Good, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. South Africa winning 2-0 here. The second half is underway. France have made a change. One of the men left out by Raymond Domenech today, Florent Malouda, has been brought on for André-Pierre Gignac. And we could be 45 minutes away from the most momentous result at this World Cup, bar none, if South Africa are able to squeeze their way through into the last 16. But much work to be done here and also in Rustenburg in the two games currently being played in Group A. 2-0 to South Africa, and Uruguay currently 1-0 up on Mexico. Jan Molby's here with us in Bloemfontein.
Well, what they've done, and we discussed it just before half-time, how open they were, the French, and what they've done now is they've given themselves a chance. I think they're playing 4-4-1 now. Diaby's playing out to the right, Malouda to the left, and you've got the two in the middle, Diarra the captain, Ribéry just in front of him, with Cisse up front on his own, and it just gives them a better feel when they don't have the ball.
But it's a tremendously exciting prospect that we've got ahead of us here.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's just coming back to that, just that little bit. Are they cute enough, the South Africans, to use that extra man?
And you have to wonder whether they are.
Yeah, I worry just a little bit.
But they've got the wind in their sails in this game, and they've got this great crowd here in the football-mad city of Bloemfontein behind them. And Pienaar now to Mpela, whose pass was behind Bernard Parker, and he slammed the brakes on but wasn't able to recover, and France have got it back. Domenech is there again, just next to where the ball is. Diaby plays it forward, but actually carried it out of play first, so it's a throw-in to South Africa just inside the French half. The French side, Lloris, the goalkeeper, at the back, Sagna, Gallas, Squillaci and Clichy. As Jan has mentioned, in midfield, Ribéry, Diarra, Diaby and Malouda. Diarra is the captain, by the way, in the absence of Evra, who was one of those players who was left out by Domenech. He's sitting on the bench now. And Djibril Cissé is playing as the central striker for France. And South Africa, no change at half-time. Joseph's the goalkeeper, who made one really acrobatic save. At the back, Ngonka, Mokoena, Kumalo and Masalela. Midfield is Pienaar, Sabaya, Kuboni and Chabalala, with Mpela and Parker up front. Chabalala swings the ball in from the left-hand side, but it's right onto the head of Squillaci, the central defender. And here they come again, South Africa, with a shot from Parker, but it's straight at goalkeeper Lloris.
It was a good take by Parker on his chest, bought himself a bit of space, but I think as he's shot, it just takes a deflection of the French defender, which takes all the pace out of the shot.
So 2-0 to South Africa. BBC 5 Live at the World Cup as the sun goes down here in South Africa after a lovely day, a lovely winter's day. They're past the shortest day now in this part of the world. And here come the French with Malouda, but the referees brought it back for a free kick, for presumably a challenge initially on Malouda.
Yeah, I think it might just have been a little bit of pulling.
All over the back of him. Kuboni was. So it's a free kick. Ribéry to take it from the left-hand side. There is still great danger, of course, in terms of the French scoring a goal in this game. Ribéry on the left. Cisse Gallas has come up from the back. Squillaci's at the back post. Delivery from Ribéry is headed up in the air and away for South Africa. Sagna heads it back into the box. Offside flag goes up. Free kick to the host nation.
Yeah, I mean, that appears to be the best way of the French to try and get back into the game from set pieces. They do have some tall players who are particularly good in the air this time. certainly Gallas was caught in an offside position as the South African defence. They must have worked on that, mustn't they? Because it's cost them early on in the tournament, their inability to play in a straight line at the back. They did that this time, caught the French offside.
Mind you, Jan, we keep talking about France's potential for scoring goals and the talent they've got, but they have yet to get off the mark at this World Cup. They've not scored a goal yet.
I think they're yet to have a really good chance. We've seen all their games, and I can't remember them having a really good chance where you say they should have scored that one.
I've remembered one. Govu in the first match against Uruguay early on.
Wrong man in the wrong place.
Here's Pienaar now for South Africa. Chabalala's got space here. He's up against Squillaci. He plays it through to him. Pele's hit the post. Oh, goodness me. Inches away from 3-0.
Oh, it was beautiful. You know what we spoke about before? Are they cute enough? Well, they didn't half work that well. They created the space, and Pele's clean through, and he's had a really good swing at it. No chance of it being offside. It hits the outside of the post. That should have been the third goal. But good play by South Africa.
That was excellent.
Beautiful play.
I thought it was in.
So I think everybody did.
It's that ball again.
Do you think so? Are you blaming the ball, John? I can't believe that. Only players and ex-players are allowed to blame the ball.
I'm cutting the host nation a bit of slack.
It was a good chance, wasn't it? Clean through.
You said it, Jan. He struck it beautifully.
Yeah, he did everything right apart from not getting it fully on target.
It's quite a story, this unfolding here. France down to 10 men because Gourcuff was sent off. Very unfortunate to be sent off, we feel, after only 25 minutes of the game. South Africa leading through Khumalo's goal with a header and Mpela's close-range finish. And it's looking as though the French are preparing Thierry Henry to come onto the field. There's a South African player down injured. He's going to need some treatment. So while he gets that, let's get another update from Alistair Bruce-Ball, who's watching the other game in this group in Rustenburg.
I think we're a little bit ahead of you as well, John. 8 minutes gone in the second half here. Uruguay leading Mexico by 1-0. Ideally, South Africa would like Uruguay to keep scoring goals in this match. Mexico are pushing hard for the equaliser, leaving themselves a little bit vulnerable, a little bit open at the back. One effort in the second half from Cavani for Uruguay. It was very, very easily saved. At the moment, Uruguay topping the group on 7 points. Mexico possibly feeling a little bit nervy. Uruguay leading here by 1-0.
It's Ngonka, the right back for South Africa, who is injured. Not sure he's going to be able to continue. Thierry Henry's waiting to come on, and Ngonka is being stretchered off. Let's get an update from Wimbledon on Andy Murray's progress in his first round game against Jan Hayek. Here's Jonathan Overend.
Well, after a very confident opening service game from Andy Murray, he's just lost his serve in his second. So it's Hayek, the world number 90, who is ahead by 2-1 with a break of serve. Murray slipped to 15-40, saved the first break point with an ace down the middle. But on the second, the man from the Czech Republic played an excellent forehand drop shot, and Murray couldn't get there in time to steer the backhand down the line. So Hayek ahead, surprisingly, 2-1 first set. France
0, South Africa 2. Mexico 0, Uruguay 1. The Andy Murray match and our Wimbledon coverage is on DAB radio via the 5 Live website. Mexico-Uruguay commentary is also on the 5 Live website. There's live sport from BBC Radio all over the place this afternoon. The One-Day Internationals on 5 Live Sports Extra and Radio 4 198 long wave. Really dramatic, exciting afternoon for a Tuesday. Here's Cisse. Gaka is going to come on for South Africa. He started the first 2 matches in the group for South Africa at right back, so he will come on for Ngonka. I thought my chair was going to give way there.
It looked like you were just about to leave the commentary position.
Yes, Henry's waiting to come on. Sanya on the right. South Africa winning 2-0. Sanya, Cisse with a shot, and it dips over from just outside the D. Just didn't come down quickly enough.
Oh, it did well though. It was a good shot, wasn't it? On the turn, just over the crossbar. France's best effort.
2-0 to South Africa. Here's Alistair Bruce-Ball again in Rustenburg.
With some agonising news for South Africa fans, because Uruguay came so close to a second here. The centre-back Diego Lugano, powerful header. Oscar Perez, he's only 5'7" in the Mexican goal, threw himself full stretch to his right-hand side and palmed it away. It remains Mexico 0, Uruguay 1.
So enter Thierry Henry with 35 minutes to play, winning his 123rd cap for France, 33 in August. at his 4th World Cup, first Frenchman to play at 4 World Cups. He's on the field.
Yeah, it's a strange time to bring him, isn't it? You know, when you think of the second game against the Mexican, where when they went 1-0 down, needed to try and get back into the game, and I have to admit that Thierry Henry is not the player he used to be, but still you would have thought, and they bring him now with 10 men, 2-0 down, only prize to play for. Strange.
Very. It's one of the many images of the World Cup, Thierry Henry looking, shall we say, as he sat on the bench
Well, he looked
in
bored,
Polokwane with a face like a
cold and bored.
Well, he's on the field now, and for those who weren't listening earlier, when Dominic was sitting on his own as France warmed up, Thierry Henry brought the players together in a huddle and effectively gave them the team talk, it seemed. South Africa coming forward again. Chabalala on the left side of the box, pulls it over. It's blocked by Gallas. Chabalala's got a second chance here. The ball broke to him, but couldn't find a teammate in Parker. Played away though, only to Koboni. Now Pinar on the right-hand side. South Africa with it and looking dangerous. 2-0 up. Pinar on the overlap down the right. The cross is blocked by Malouda, and it's out of play for a throw-in to the South Africans. And Gaka, who's just come on, holds the ball and looks for movement here. It comes from Parker, and Parker now receives it and gives it back to Gaka. But the French suddenly look very interested in this game, and he's closed down quickly, and a throw-in is one off.
Yeah, you just don't know, do you, with the fact that Thierry Henry has come on and he might have just been able to lift them all a little bit. But they certainly just look like they're having a little spell where they look focused again.
France 0, South Africa 2. Still Mexico 0, Uruguay 1. So as things stand, it is still Uruguay and Mexico going through from this group, but we're a couple of goals away from that picture changing, and South Africa are in with a real live hope here, the host nation, of making it through, so improbably, to the last 16. This is the loudest we've heard the vuvuzelas in this match, as Masilela, who is involved in the second South African goal, infield towards Koboni. Chabalala is trying to force a way through, can't do so. France give it away again, and Umpella's going to shoot from distance. Oh, Lloris makes a save, diving to his right.
He did ever so well. He had choices as well, didn't he, Umpeller? Go right or have a shot. He asked a shot, goalkeeper sees it late. Good save.
Again, struck that extremely well. Umpella from round about 25 yards. They're really threatening a third goal here, South Africa. Just over half an hour to play. Chabalala with a corner towards the back post. It's headed away out of the box. Pina hits the shot. He's hit his teammate Kumalo inside the area, who stayed down, and the referee's blown the whistle so that Kumalo can receive some treatment. It was Kumalo who was the target for the Chabalala corner again, but it was behind him. He had to stretch, and it was him who headed it out of the area to Pina.
Yeah, so the question is, when did he get injured? Did he get injured with the shot that hit him? No, I don't think so, because that hit him on the backside.
It did.
But he's okay, he's up, he's ready to go again.
Yes. France 0, South Africa 2. With the sun just going down here now, we've got pink clouds above us, pink and purple they are, with blue sky behind them, and the floodlights beginning to take effect. And Ribéry getting away from Mokoena, and still Ribéry in the box, goes for the chip but pulls it high over the top of the bar.
Oh, he was one of those again, and he's refused the first opportunity to shoot Ribéry. He's come back inside, and then you think, because Thierry Henry was coming on the outside or on an overlap, and you thought, roll it into the path of Thierry Henry, he scores. He doesn't. He goes for one of those soft shots over the bar.
So a goal kick to the French with just over half an hour to play, 31 minutes plus added time. 10-man France against South Africa, the hosts, as Gallas heads the ball up in the air and Mpela jumps for it and couldn't reach it, and South Africa have to backpedal again as the French, in the blue shirts and the white shorts and the red socks, have it with Ribéry on the left-hand side. Quick movement from his feet, but passes it straight into Sabaya. And now South Africa move down the right-hand side, and the ball is angled for Gaka, who's just come on. Gaka dwelt on the ball, and that gave Clichy the chance to come back in and block it out of play for a throw next to the corner flag.
Yeah, very, very quick, Gael Clichy. Managed to get back and block. But they're having a good little spell. Thierry Henry came on, lifted the French for a little while, but he's back. It's the South Africans that keep coming.
He's taken the captain's armband as well, Thierry Henry. Do you notice? From Alou Diarra?
I didn't notice that. No,
he has. Now that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I don't think that was instructed from the coach.
Tshabalala with the corner for South Africa. It's deep towards the back post. The referee, well, I thought he'd blown his whistle because several players went down inside the box, but there was no whistle. And it's just out of play for a throw into France in their own right back area. 5 Live at the World Cup 2010 here in South Africa, here in Bloemfontein, with the scoreline of France 0, South Africa 2. And in Rustenburg it is still Mexico 0, Uruguay 1. So as it stands, it would still be Uruguay and Mexico going through to the last 16. Let's get another update on Andy Murray's progress at Wimbledon from Jonathan Overeem.
Jan Hayek serving at 3-2 in the opening set with a break of serve achieved in the third game with an excellent forehand drop shot. He's looking very secure. He's 90 in the world. He plays most of his season on clay. Even played on clay a few weeks ago when everyone else was on grass, but he's ahead 3-2.
Thanks, Jonathan. And that is the coverage and the commentary on Andy Murray's game is on DAB radio via the 5 Live website. South Africa, Sibaya, important challenge to take it away from Ribery. Plays it to the right-hand side. Back in field it comes to Sibaya with his hair all over the place as he twisted his body. Now Kuboni with the blue boots. De Pina, who's appeared on the left-hand side. And South Africa passing it around very well against the 10 men. And as I say that, just let down by Parker, but they've got it back, and Parker gives it to Kuboni. This is an excellent passing move. Pina to the left-hand side to Masalela. His cross, though, hits Sanya, and it falls to Diaby, who's able to just clear it way downfield.
Yeah, it's probably the most passes they've had at any stage during this World Cup. 15, 16 passes. They moved it forward, sideways and out to the left in the end, and you thought, there's your opportunity. Put in a good cross, hits the first defender.
Parker again for South Africa, plays it to the right, and Mpala could be in here from an angle. Goalkeeper came out, but it bounced back into him and off the field for a goal kick.
Yeah, he wanted somebody in the middle, didn't he? He was looking for the pass. He didn't want to take on the shot himself. The angle was far too tight. He waited. In the end, he had no choice but to try and shoot. Ricochets back off the goalkeeper onto his shin, out for the goal kick.
So 2-0 to South Africa, and the goal kick to the French. And it does now look increasingly, as the minutes pass by, as though this will be it for France at this World Cup. Runners-up 4 years ago in Germany, but on their way home, and probably in disgrace, is not overstating it, given the events of the last few days. I mentioned it in the first half, but you do wonder, Nicolas Anelka, presumably now back in London with his family, will he be watching the game?
No.
Will he be paying attention?
I don't think
How
so.
will he be feeling about the situation that the team are in? Here is Parker in the centre circle. Now to Pienaar. And Pienaar shuffles forward, yellow and green shirts ahead of them, 3 of them, but Pienaar turns and tries to swing a ball out towards the right-hand side, and it comes back to Gaka, but he couldn't keep it in out on the flank, and it's a throw-in to the French halfway inside their own half. Tshabalala just lost balance and the ball bounced out of play. One German flag is waved behind where Clichy is taking this throw-in. It's their big night tomorrow night. You'll hear the drama unfold in that group tomorrow evening, and England in the afternoon. Here's Pienaar now, trying to force a way through the inside right area. Gallas came across. Pienaar says it came off Gallas last, and the Colombian officials say no, it didn't. It's a goal kick to the
He's trying, isn't he, Pienaar? He knows as well. The game has reached this stage, isn't it, where it just needs a bit of magic from Pienaar. He can't quite get it right.
Let's see if another goal is in the offing in Rustenburg. Ali, Bruce Ball.
Very nearly had an equaliser for Mexico. 25 minutes to play. Their centre-back Rodriguez heading wide from 6 yards out, and he looked absolutely certain to score. Uruguay still leading by a goal to 0, so still very much on for South Africa, who will want Uruguay to score again here. 1-0 to Uruguay.
Commentary on that is on the 5 Live website. France 0, South Africa 2, with just over 25 minutes to play now in this game. South Africa need another goal, need Uruguay to get another one in Rustenburg. And that would take South Africa through instead of Mexico. That is one way for it to happen. Malouda, 30 yards out. Malouda to Henry, who took the ball down on his shoulder and shoots from an angle. And nowhere near the goal. And the South Africans are suggesting that was a Thierry Henry handball.
Yeah, and I think they were right. I don't think he intended to control it with his left hand, but he certainly did. And the problem you got is with Thierry Henry being the only striker on the pitch. Once he goes wide, fires a cross in, there's no one in the box to put it in the net.
Yeah. He will have known that struck him on the left arm.
Yeah, he
came off his head, hit him on the left arm.
Did you want him to stop, John?
And he didn't stop,
no.
Just like Luis Fabiano the other night.
Absolutely, but he handled it twice.
He handled it twice, just like Thierry Henry did in Paris.
Yeah.
They'll be enjoying this in Ireland, won't they?
Let that go now.
Yeah,
I think they've had their payback, haven't they, the French?
They're getting it now. Although Ireland will feel that they instead should have been here in their stead. And Siyabonga Nombeti is going to come on for South Africa. Very experienced forward player, 32 years old, not yet played at this World Cup, but got a very good international record. Pienaar, 25 yards out, is going to shoot low, but no power behind it. Too close to Lloris as well, who was able to drop on it to his right. And overarms it out with Chabalala down injured. So just wondering whether the referee will allow play to continue, but Ribéry was aware and just plonks the ball out of play on the far side so Chabalala can get some treatment.
Yeah, again, they're looking for Pienaar. He gets on the ball, shot from distance, but straight at the goalkeeper.
It's Bernard Parker who's going to come off, and Siyabonga Nombeti will replace him up front alongside Mpala, who and it looks as though Chabalala might not be able to continue.
Yeah, I think he's in trouble. I mean,
have they made the change, Jan?
No,
are they waiting to see how Chabalala is?
Yeah, they're waiting. It was a challenge from Diarra. I think he might just need him in the sort of hip back area.
Yeah, so it hasn't been made yet, that substitution. Parker's just waiting with his hands on his hips, and Nombeti is flexing his thighs, lifting his knees up towards his chest, and Chabalala is on his feet. He'll take some stopping, Chabalala, you know.
Yeah, he will, most definitely. I think he's seen another headline, isn't he? Another rocket from 25 yards in the top corner. He might just be okay.
See. Carlos Alberto Pereira, the Brazilian coach of South Africa, has come over. They're all in dazzling white tops and green tracksuit bottoms with yellow stripes, and he is just feeling that right thigh, and he's waved back on by the fourth official. So one of the stars for South Africa at this World Cup, the scorer of that unforgettable first goal of the tournament in Soccer City, Chabalala, is back on the field. South Africa leading 2-0 on 5 Live. France looking dangerous. Important little interception on the edge of the box by Mokoena, the captain. Otherwise, Malouda might have been through. Josephs, the goalkeeper, hurls it downfield for South Africa. Squillaci just keeps it in play for France. And then Chabalala is challenged by Diaby, and it's out of play for a throw-in to South Africa. And the change is now made. Parker is off and Nombeti is on. Siyabonga Nombeti. This is his 77th cap for his country. So he's been down this road a few times before, but not in a game like this.
No, and the message to him is pretty clear, isn't it? You need to get us a couple of goals. I mean, Parker's worked ever so hard, but he's never quite looked likely that he was going to get any goals.
No. We're past the midway point of the second half, so less than a quarter of the match to go. And South Africa tantalising now for their supporters, leading by 2-0. Uruguay winning 1-0 as Nombeti is caught offside. It's not quite enough at the moment.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just that spare man. They're not using him. That spare man should be Pienaar. They should be able to get him on the ball all the time, but they haven't.
Be an anxious time for all of those cheery Mexicans that we've seen so much of at this World Cup as well, their supporters.
I don't think they're ready to go home yet.
I do not. 2-0 to South Africa. 5 Live Sport at the World Cup. And Sagna now for the French, who are playing with 10 men after Gourcuff's first half sending off. Diaby with a flamboyant back heel to Sagna. Sagna through for Ribéry. Ribéry pulls it across. Malouda turns it into the net. France have scored, and that could be it in terms of the dreams and hopes of South Africa at this World Cup.
Yeah, you always felt, didn't you, that there was a goal on the cards for the French You know, in the second half, once Thierry Henry, to be fair, once he's come on, they looked up for it, they're better organised, and they worked that goal ever so well. It was a great ball forward for Ribéry. The goalkeeper comes out, he just slides it across. There's Malouda into an empty net for France's first goal at this World Cup.
They've finally scored. Florent Malouda has got it in the 70th minute of the match, and that probably now increases the chances by some distance of South Africa and France going out.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that, that's for sure.
Here, though, comes South Africa with Masalela into the full-back position. Diaby was all over the back of him and has pushed him over, and it's a free kick to the South Africans just outside the box in the full-back position. Yellow card for Diaby as well.
Again, I think it's harsh. It's a great position to have a free kick, 2 yards outside the penalty area. On the left, Pienaar on the ball. Everybody's forward.
So, South Africa with the free kick. Pienaar is going to take it.
They need a quick one now here.
They do with a quick response, couldn't they? 2-1 to South Africa. France 1, South Africa 2. The score here in Bloemfontein as the sun now disappears. And Pienaar waits until the referee moves Sagna, the one-man French wall, back the required distance. Pienaar standing, one yellow boot in front of the other. Pienaar curls it in, and it's straight through to Lloris. And
a touch, and it's a goal.
Koboni was diving in, and the French are pouring downfield. Ribéry has Malouda ahead of him. Henry is there as well. Ribéry thinks about a shot, gives it to Henry, takes a ricochet off Sibaya through to goalkeeper Joseph.
That was a lovely free kick by Pienaar, again into that area that's almost impossible to defend. And if the attacker gets the slightest of touch, it's a goal. He didn't, into the grateful arms of the goalkeeper.
France 1, South Africa 2, Mexico 0, Uruguay 1. So as it stands, it would be Uruguay going through with Mexico. South Africa's goal difference is -2 now, and Mexico's is +1. So it's a 3-goal swing that is required. South Africa, quite simply, have to score again. He has Gaka, the right back, just delays, plays it into the area towards Nomvete, who goes down theatrically and acrobatically inside the box. That was a dive by Nomvete.
And that should have been, shouldn't it? A booking.
He was after a penalty.
That was pathetic.
But was never going to get it. Thierry Henry now just gliding around inside his own half to Malouda, the goal scorer, the French goal scorer. Squillaci and Sagna. South Africa have just had a little bit of the wind taken out of them by that Malouda goal. Lovely goal as well.
Yeah,
it was beautifully worked.
Yeah, worked it ever so well.
Sagna now on the right, still on the halfway line, and they've recovered some of their poise, the French, with that goal, their first in their third match at World Cup 2010. Now to the left-hand side it goes to Clichy and Malouda. And you wonder whether all of the effort that South Africa have put in, or perhaps they're just holding themselves in.
No, because they're not capable of doing what the French are doing at the moment, are they? The French are preserving their energy at the moment, just keeping the ball, probing and probing and probing. The South Africans can't do that. They have to play at 100 mile an hour all the time.
Yes. Ribéry receives it in the middle of the South African half. Koboni comes in with a challenge. It's a good one. Chabalala swings a long ball downfield, but it's probably not quite the time for that yet.
No, but it's options, isn't it? You know, where's your midfield man showing wants to get on the ball? He's not there, so you have to go long. And also, they feel under real pressure. They need goals.
Yeah, he went for the millionaire pass towards Pella. So France have got it back. Sagna almost twisted himself into a hole there. The French right back gives it back to Squillaci, who's so far back he's in his own penalty area. He's nearly next to goalkeeper Lloris. As an exotic bird dives into the arena here and then out of it again. And South Africa with Pienaar. Oh, that was almost beautifully timed for Nomvete, but Squillaci stretched and just got it away inside the penalty area.
Yeah, it was almost a perfect pass from Pienaar.
You were waiting for that moment, weren't you, Jan, from Pienaar?
I just think, you know, your better players have to play well for you to do well in the tournament, and Pienaar, for me, hasn't been the Pienaar we see when he playing an Everton shirt.
Thierry Henry again glides forward with the ball. 1-2 with Ribéry. Thierry Henry is still going. And now to the right, he gives it to Diaby. Diaby thinks about the ball into the box. Henry is in there now. Ribéry. And Diaby, then it's back to the halfway line. This is much better from France. That was beautiful, actually, from Thierry Henry. He was like He was like double cream, just rolling across the pitch as he moved forward.
It's the way he glides, isn't he?
Now Clichy again.
Might not be as quick as he used to be, but he can still glide across.
Yes.
They're actually having a little bit of keep ball, the French.
He used to be single cream,
But now
just
it's
runs
double.
a little bit faster.
Now it's double.
Yeah. Here's Sanya, now into the centre circle to Diarra. Oh, poor ball from Diarra, gave it straight to Sabaya. So the horns are blowing again as Nomvete brings it into the penalty area, beats 3 men, just overruns it. Lloris comes out and drops down onto the earth to hold the ball.
Well, the one thing to save the French there was that they had players back in numbers, and they defended really, really well in the end, because it looked like something was just about to be created, but they got across and cleared the situation.
Thrilling run from Nomvete, though. You know, that French goal has really dampened the hopes inside the ground. You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, they had a sort of half an hour spell where they thought it was possible. Coming here today, I don't think anyone really thought it was going to happen, but they gave themselves some hope. But they haven't been able to.
15 minutes left.
Do enough.
2-1 to South Africa. BBC 5 Live. We are in every stadium at every game at this World Cup. And in Rustenburg, Uruguay are winning 1-0 against Mexico. And it would look as though Uruguay would be going through as group winners. And Mexico would almost certainly, if they go through in second place, play Argentina, who will surely finish top of Group B. That's decided tonight. The commentaries this evening are on 5 Live on the Greece-Argentina game, and Nigeria-South Korea is on the 5 Live website. Well, the attendance is 39,415. The capacity here is something around 45,000. France with a free kick. Ribery in. Squillaci was after it. It was headed away, though, by Kumalo, who's the last line of defence, but the offside flag was up against one of the 2 French players in there. So France 1, South Africa 2 remains the score here. And here's Jonathan Overend again in the summer sunshine at Wimbledon.
And Murray hits back in the opening set. 4 games all against Jan Hayek. He had 4 break points in that game, Murray. His Czech opponent saved the first 3 brilliantly, but on the 4th, on a replayed point after a dodgy line call, Murray nailed a backhand return down the line, and we're level at 4-all first set.
So back here on the winter's afternoon in South Africa, the ball goes to Mpela. Now to Pinar on the edge of the box. Out to Gaka on the right-hand side. Kuboni takes it up. Kuboni digs the ball over the top. Squillaci is there, though, to head it away for the French. Sabaya now takes it on. Malouda was claiming he was fouled by Kuboni. No free kick given for the French. So Nomvete on the left-hand side. 2 players on the overlap. The left-back, Masalela, is there. Chabalala very close to him. Chabalala back to Masalela. Masalela stood on the ball. Chabalala still got it for South Africa, though. Now Nomvete again. Nomvete, but the French are well drilled there, and it's Thierry Henry who comes back and dispossesses Nomvete and plays it forward for Ribery, who holds off the challenge. And Ribery now pushes Mokoena, who pushes him back, and the ball is out of play off Mokoena for a throw-in to the French.
I think he's actually given a free kick for the French.
He won't be able to take it yet, though.
Nope.
I'll see if it is going to be a free kick. Change being made, and Kuboni is off, and Teko Modise, who was dropped for this game, or at least left out of the starting lineup, Modise is back on for South Africa. It is a free kick for the French. Ribery waits with his hands on his knees. 12 minutes to play. South Africa leading 2-1. Ribery, high free kick into the area that Mpela allows to bounce behind and through for a goal kick. A goal kick to South Africa. Latest from Alistair Bruce Ball in Rustenburg is...
11 minutes to go, still Mexico 0, Uruguay 1. South Africa fans want more Uruguay goals. In the last 20 minutes or so, it's actually looked more like a Mexico equaliser is going to come. I had a little look at the Mexican fans' reaction as well, John, when the France goal went in. I think they did know about it, but they have such a good time all the time. There wasn't really a sort of noticeable improvement in mood. They're feeling pretty confident that they're going to be going through in second place, but we'll probably have to face Argentina in the last 16. Uruguay leading by a goal to 0.
Which is what they did at the last World Cup in Leipzig, when it went to extra time and the Argentines just came through. South Africa with a ball from Chabalala, but it just bounces off Mpela over the top to Lloris. France with the ball at the back. South Africa leading 2-1. Back to Wimbledon again, and Jonathan Overend.
And a really impressive service hold from Andy Murray. In fact, his best game of the match so far, to edge ahead 5-4. Almost like it took about 20 minutes, John, for Murray, playing touchy-feely, just getting used to conditions on court number one. But he sort of exploded out in that 9th game and looks on top now. 5-4 first set.
Commentary continues on DAB radio via the 5 Live website. Here's Chabalala, middle of the French half. Chabalala shoots, but got underneath it. Groans from the crowd, but never threatened Loris's top right corner.
No, not really. I mean, he has got a lovely, sweet left foot on him. It's a long way out, and as it has been the problem with this ball in the World Cup, it just doesn't come down as quick as the players would like.
25 years old, Chabalala, plays for the Kaiser Chiefs here in South Africa. Do you think we might see a little more of him?
No.
No interest?
I don't think so.
No. Ball headed away from
I think his
edge.
biggest problem is he looks physically weak. You know, you think if you're talking in England or whatever, no, I don't think he looks strong enough.
Out of play for a throw into the South Africans just inside their own half with 10 minutes to play. As it stands, South Africa and France have got 10 minutes left in this World Cup. Pienaar on the right. Pienaar took his eye off the ball at the crucial moment, and Clichy came in with a challenge and cleverly played it off Pienaar and out for a throw-in. And our friends from Germany wave their flag again in that little corner, and a flamboyantly dressed South African right in front of the German dances around and blows an orange vuvuzela and then sits down in their seat. Throwing to the French, level with the edge of their own box.
Interesting game tomorrow. Possibly Africa's last chance. Ghana playing the Germans.
And you think?
I think Ghana might just be able to hold out for the point, which if Serbia could win.
And I think the Germans will go through.
Yeah, you always go with the favourites here.
That's because I'm English and you're Danish.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Here's Ribéry on the halfway line for France. And Diaby does well, actually, just moves around Sabaya and then lays it off to his left-hand side. And Henry is there, and Henry tries a shot from way out on the left-hand side that's nowhere near the goal, and then walks away with his head down and his arm up, apologising to 4 teammates in better position.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I couldn't believe he decided to shoot from that angle and distance. He was never really on. They had people forward to France. He could have just kept the ball. Final substitution.
Third change for France, for Domenech. His last substitution as coach of the French national team. And, well, you have to say he's going to give it a go. He's brought Govou on, and he'll have to hope for an avalanche of goals here for France.
No, I think he's hoping to try and get a point from this game, but I think he's recognised that the South Africans are struggling physically, and there's a real opportunity to maybe get an equaliser.
Yeah. And here's Ribéry, who races away downfield, but Mokoena will reach that first and plays it back to his goalkeeper Josephs, who's done very well, actually. Monib Josephs, having come in for the suspended Kune. France still with it. Govou has bounced off the ball, so Chabalala runs forward again, then drags it back. That was clever. Back into the space that was there for Modise, who gives it to the right-hand side to Pienaar, and Pienaar curls the ball into the penalty area. Nomveti chests it down and straight into Squillaci, who clears it. Do you think he was thinking about shooting Nomveti?
Yeah, I think he was, but again, it was a good pick by Pienaar. You know, he waited. He had people running across defenders, and he just created a bit of space at the back post. Perfectly crossfield ball, but again, just technical abilities to get the ball under control as quick as he can to have a shot. Didn't quite come off.
Only ever won one match at the World Cup finals before, South Africa. So whatever happens today, regardless of whether they go out, as it looks as though they might do now, it's still a momentous day for them.
Beating the mighty French. Of course it is. This is a fantastic result. And I don't think anyone believed it possible before kickoff.
And if South Africa are to go out here today, the host nation, then at least they will have this result to take from this World Cup.
Yeah, whatever way you look at it, they've played 3 games, they've only lost 1 of those 3 games, so they will view that as some kind of a success. The disappointing bit was the game in the middle, where once they went 1-0 down, arguably, I had to say, against a good-looking Uruguayan team, but they were a little bit powder puff.
France 1, South Africa 2, BBC 5 Live, and the French with Henry inside the area, who stretches for it but can only direct it behind for a goal kick. Amazing night now here. It's the first time I've actually commentated on a game in the afternoon at this World Cup. All my matches have been at night, and there's a really strange light above Bloemfontein, the blue sky, still puffy white clouds up there, but the darkness setting in and the floodlights brightly on, and the South African supporters looking to give their team a send-off here, and a group of them behind Joseph's goal waving their vuvuzelas while most of the other people inside the ground blow them. And the French with Malouda, their goal scorer. Malouda scoring for France after South Africa were 2-0 up through Kumalo and Mpela at half-time. Gourcuff sent off after 25 minutes. We'll have more on the budget as well, by the way, in case you're just getting into your cars after a day at work. The budget earlier this afternoon, that'll be rounded up for you after the end of this game as well. Mexico 0, Uruguay 1, latest from the one-day international, and Andy Murray's game, which is in progress against Jan Hayek at Wimbledon. Here's Pienaar in the centre circle. Pienaar with his head down. Ribéry comes back to challenge, and Ribéry overtakes Pienaar and then gets shoved over as well. But the ball runs to France, and the referee allows play to continue.
Yeah, he looks tired, doesn't he, Pienaar? Well, he's carried the hopes of the nation, and he looks absolutely shattered.
So the French with it inside their own half, just playing it around at the back. And orange-coated stewards have now appeared from all directions and are standing in front of the four sides of the ground. And Squillaci gives it back to Lloris. French goalkeeper, you know, has made 2-3 very good saves in this match.
Yeah, he has, yeah. But
even though he was at fault for the first goal.
I was just going to say, he also gifted the South Africans the first.
Yeah. Ribéry to the edge of the area, but straight onto the chest of Kumalo.
Viewed by many, the French goalkeeper, as one of the best young goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah, but he was certainly exposed by that corner from Chabalala. Pienaar in the centre circle. There is space on the right, but Gaka couldn't control it, and it runs away and out of play for a throw-in. The game is nearly up for the host nation,
yeah,
I think.
Yes, it is. The high hopes at half-time, winning 2-0, man extra, and you feel second half, but they haven't been able to do it.
Sabaya to Chabalala. Chabalala's pass just lacked the pace that it needed to get past Sanya. Nomvete still after it, but Squillaci plays it away to the left-hand side. Clichy struggling to keep it in under pressure. Nomvete has got it back. Poor ball away from Clichy, but then it bounces off the South African and out of play for a... Oh, it actually came off Gallas in the end. Thrown to South Africa. At least that's what the assistant said. Nomvete takes it. If there's to be a chance for South Africa, a goal has to come very soon. Ball played through by Modise, but Gallas sticks out a foot on the edge of the box. Still haven't got it away, France. And Mpela is after it, and he's got it ahead of Sanya in the fullback position, and then tired legs take over, and he's stretched and he couldn't keep it in.
Tired legs and tired minds. Can't quite make their decision quick enough.
2-1 to South Africa. France heading out, and many people, not just in Ireland, will feel that France have got their comeuppance for what happened at the Stade de France against the Republic of Ireland. Their comeuppance, they're just desserts, call it what you will, but this has been a World Cup to forget for the French. Henry on the field and trying to take it on over the halfway line, and Henry tackling back now on Sabaya and appealing to the assistant for the throw, and he gets it as well. And Dominic, with his hands in his pockets, points forward with just over 2 minutes of the 90 to play. 2-1 to South Africa. Still Uruguay 1, Mexico 0. So Uruguay are going through as winners of Group A, with Mexico as runners-up. Unless we have a very, very unexpected series of events over the course of the next couple of minutes or so. Malouda keeps the ball up on the right-hand side and then drives it forward, but that'll go through for a goal kick. They still have a little hope, I feel, but it is fading fast inside the Free State Stadium here. And Carlos Alberto Pereira prowls around on the edge of his coaching area. A World Cup winner as coach with Brazil, remember. And the host nation, with this result, have far from disgraced themselves, even though they will be the first host nation at a World Cup to go out at the opening stage, the first stage of the competition. Chabalala standing in front of a French free kick, and Squillaci's trying to move him out of the way. The referee's just ignoring it. I suspect this referee perhaps will go no further in the competition either after the two games that he's taken control of.
I think there's every chance.
We felt that it was an extremely harsh decision to send Gourcuff off during the first half. Long ball downfield from Lloris, but it bounces through for, in fact, the free kick's been given South Africa's way for the jump by Henry. So 2-1 to South Africa. In the last minute here, an update from Andy Murray's match at Wimbledon from Jonathan Overend again.
First set in the bag for Andy Murray, 7 games to 5 from a breakdown. Impressive turnaround, really. Hayek was ahead 4-2, but Murray made a discerning effort in the 8th game to really turn it, really change his style, play more aggressively, got the break back, and has just broken again in the 12th game. He leads by 1 set to none.
Yeah, and once we're finished here in all the football, and we've rounded it up, commentary continues on the Murray match on 5 Live. Sanya, ball into the middle, headed up in the air. Josephs, the goalkeeper, comes and catches it for South Africa. It's got to come forward quickly. Won a free kick, actually, for Squillaci's challenge on Josephs. It's got to come forward very quickly. We're almost into added time. The 4th official is there, looking at his watch and preparing his board, which shows a red number 3. 3 minutes for South Africa to pull off the impossible.
No, it won't happen. You know, we feared at half-time that they might not be able to make use of this extra man.
Nomveti pulls the ball across the penalty area. It's headed up in the air and away into the full-back area by Sanya, who then follows up and heads it out of play for a throw-in. South Africans need to get this back onto the pitch ASAP. It's being left for Maselela, the left back. Mind you, it was tremendously exciting while it lasted, when we thought that South Africa out of nowhere had a chance. Now a chance here that is shot into the side netting from Modise on the edge of the box. Just dragged it wide, struck it well but wide.
Yeah, he struck it ever so well, but the defender, I think it was Gallas who was in front of him, just didn't give him enough of the goal to aim at into the side netting. But I think what they've done, South Africa, and they've spoken an awful lot about pride, haven't they, after the Uruguay defeat, and they said all we want is our pride back. I think they've achieved that.
France with it, with Govu up the right. Sliding challenge comes in to put it out of play from Kumalo, off Govu for a throw-in to South Africa. We've already had 1 minute and 15 seconds of added time, and I think it might be a valedictory blow of the Vuvuzelas for the host nation, and some of the rainbow flags are being waved rather mournfully in the end behind Joseph's goal, as Gaka now rolls the ball up the right-hand side, and Nomveti shows a bit of pace here, pulls it across. Chabalala's got a chance, hits the goalkeeper, follows up, couldn't reach it, Gallas clears.
Yeah, again, I mean, it was a great counter-attack, ever so quick, moved the ball 60 yards, and once it came to Chabalala, you thought, here we go, 3-1. Credit to the goalkeeper, that was an excellent save.
Modise is going to take a shot from way out on the left when Nomveti was free inside the box on the far side, and if it was to happen, that had to go in from Chabalala.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I mean, it was a real chance, wasn't it? He was completely on his own, but the goalkeeper stood, waited for as long as he could, and he's just saved it with his left hand.
The game is almost up for the host nation and for France, even though South Africa are winning here by 2-1. But what a run this is from Nomveti, who then puts his foot on the ball but gets up quickly and runs away from Clichy and is then hauled over by Govu. So South Africa will have a free kick 25 yards out.
And that's, I think, all the fans want, isn't it? One final goal.
Well, one won't be enough, because Uruguay have beaten Mexico by 1-0. So Uruguay have won the group. They're going through as group winners, and South Africa would have to score a couple of goals themselves in no time at all if they were to pull off what is now the impossible. But they've got a free kick here, and I think it would be extremely fitting were South Africa to round off their World Cup with a goal. Chabalala to the right of the ball.
From somebody from 28 yards, stick this one in the top corner.
Modise to the left. Mokoena is standing 7 or 8 yards back behind the ball. You would think it would have to be Chabalala, but it's going to be Mokoena who clatters it into the wall, and the final whistle goes, and the Vuvuzelas are silenced in Bloemfontein for a moment, because the final score is France 1, South Africa 2. The host nation are out, and France's chaotic World Cup is also over. We've been watching the losers in Group A here. It's finished France 1, South Africa 2, and at least South Africa have finished with a victory.